Hello and welcome to another Table Ready live stream. So this is the second one for 2023 and we're going to talk about Berlin Soviet because frankly we couldn't not do it because it launches tomorrow. And we're also going to talk a little bit about our own builds. So I'm Harry from Fog of War if you don't know me, and down here is...
Adam from Dice of War.
And next to him is the lovely...
Christian from Pains and Panzers.
And our extra special guest is...
I'm Ben, and I'm Harry's regular opponent.
Yeah, as you will see in some of the slides today.
Yeah, if you've heard about spigots or T55 spam.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's all the evidence is there. Plus some terrible dice rolls as well. So, yeah, what's everybody been up to? I've done a couple of videos. I got around to the T64BV and the BMD, BTRD,
awesome.
So I've done a few things. Yeah, they were good, weren't they? Adam, what have you been doing?
I went back home to Newcastle for 3 weeks in January, so I actually did do some painting while I was over there. I painted up a couple of early mid-war grey Panzer IIIs and some 251 transports.
Nice.
But yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on the side at the moment. So, yeah.
And Christian, what about you? What have you been doing? Saw some fun stuff.
Yeah, I've been quite busy. I've been trying to get like a weekly content out now. So I did a Bowfighter recently, T34, for the Berlin release, and now I'm working on a Junkers 87, which will drop tomorrow, and then back to the 172 scale camo tutorials.
Yeah, that Bowfighter video cost me money because I had to go and buy some of those Mark 1 models there. They're on the way from eBay. They'll be here in a few weeks.
They're awesome models, but Adam had a really bad set, and they're pricey, so they're hit and miss. So definitely, do your research first.
I got a replacement set. And
did they send it, or did you have to pay for it?
Oh, I paid for it.
Yeah, you get paid too much money up there.
Ooh. And Ben, what have you been working on? Because you're not a Flames of War player, are you?
No,
yet?
I'm not. But I've got some Hungarians going. So got some Zrinyi 2s and some Tiger 1s that I'm going for a late war list.
Nice.
Tiger's nice.
Yep.
Hungarian Tigers. That was the cheap version 3 Tiger list. The Hungarians, and they're good.
Oh no, well, I'm looking at everything else, and I'm like, well, I need something heavy if there's going to be IS2s and stuff floating around, and yeah.
All right. Well, there's 7 people watching live, so hello to whoever you are. I haven't had anybody do much of a shout out yet, so I'm not sure who's there. So yeah, what we'll do though is we've got a lot of stuff to get through today. I've been making slides for a day and a half because this was originally... Ben's been very patient with us. We wanted to have Ben on in the January show, and then we had to do the Christmas Battlefront one and rub our crystal balls and see what came out, that kind of stuff. So yeah, Ben wasn't there for that one, so we've got him in. And Ben is here because we're going to look at builds we're particularly proud of. So you might even see something that I've painted, but we'll definitely see things that Ben and Christian and Adam have painted.
We need to see more of your stuff. Come on.
No, it's like when I try and do a striptease. People don't shout more, they shout less. Oh dear. But we should probably start with the slides because everybody comes to watch here for the slides, don't they?
Fancy slides.
Fancy slides.
Yeah, good slides.
Yeah, so again, we're doing the Berlin Soviet because that launches tomorrow, I believe. Is that right, Adam?
Feb
11th.
I believe so. I'm pretty sure. Was it or the maybe it's one of those ones that they're doing on the weekend, like a talk, like a live thing, and then it'll actually release on like the 14th. I don't know. No, you're probably right. I
thought it was the 11th, but I wouldn't trust me.
I didn't know if there was some problem with Auckland being underwater, but yeah. Anyway.
So Cybrin is asking, I don't know, are you still live? Yeah,
Yes,
I
we
hope
are.
we're live.
Yeah.
Very live.
Oh,
We
good.
just started, Cybrin.
Yep, so you haven't missed anything. We're just here. Okay, so when it does launch, so Berlin Soviet is one of the last late war books for Flames of War. I don't know. Everybody should have a fair idea of what's coming for that.
I would think it'd be the penultimate. I think the next one after this is
That's why I said one of. There's Berlin German after this
Berlin
one.
German, and then there might
Depends
be
if they go 1946.
Well,
go
they could
World
do that,
War.
or they could maybe flesh out something like the Italy Theatre or the other sort of less neglected ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard any whispers about anything like that, so you heard it here first, Gab.
I'm just speculating.
Oh, okay. Stop it immediately, you'll go blind. Okay. Oh, dear. So what's going to drop fairly soon is the book. So the Berlin Soviet book, that covers February through to May 1945, doesn't it? So that's the invasion of Hungary, the advance through to Berlin. So that's the kind of period that's covered by this.
Yep. And I think it's like as you can see in the middle of the screen there, you've got the M4 Sherman Soviet Tank Company. So that's the MCHs.
Yep.
I think a lot of people have been waiting for that for a long time. I certainly remember in version 3 playing against a whole heap of Shermans, and I'm like, what? Is this Americans or all these red stars? And like, no, comrade, these are Soviets. Like, oh, okay.
Ah, well, we might even have some sprue shots later on.
Oh.
Oh, yes. I scour the internet, so you don't have to. Okay. Yeah, so the book's going to come out. The Clash of Steel box set, I believe. They were making a big noise about that on the Battlefront Facebook page this week. And that's the new 2-player starter set for the Berlin era, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw someone kind of talking about that and like, oh, it's got a Jag Tiger, but so?
Yeah, but it really is it's like the thrown together remnants. So this is very much the German force that you get in that. I think it's a Jagdtiger and a couple of Panthers and a Panzer 470. Well, a couple of Panzer 470s.
Yeah.
So it really is the ad hoc Kampfgruppe that people are...
that they had, really.
Yeah.
I think in fairness to that person that would have brought that up I'm almost certain, because we had this conversation last time, I'm almost certain there was no Jagdtiger in or around Berlin at the time. It was the King Tiger, but we've already got a box set that has the King Tiger in it, so it makes sense to put a Jagdtiger in there.
You can make it.
Historically.
I think you can even... Oh, no, they're two separate kits now.
I don't know.
They are two separate kits. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Because I bought both of them and I've reviewed the King Tiger and I haven't even got anywhere near the Jagdtiger yet.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Cybrin's asking about Mumbles on Checkpoint Charlie. So we covered that in the previous live stream, didn't we? That's the...
Yeah.
They are talking Checkpoint Charlie, but not anytime soon.
Yeah, it could be end of this year. It could be the year after. I know that they want to do it. And I know, like, the big plastic Centurion will be a big thing.
Yeah.
With that,
I'm going to buy so many of those.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, the mouse. So Droxlet said the mouse. To me, that suggests that there's going to be something like mid-war monsters for late war. I think the thing that used to get along was late war Leviathans. That they were kind of talking about it in version 3 land.
Yeah, so what was it? That was actually in the Christmas message.
Yep.
That's going to be at least 2024. It's not going to be this year.
Yep.
So but there is a strong hint that there was going to be a mouse. So so it's not going to be in the upcoming Berlin German book. You won't get a mouse in that. But you may get that as an exciting thing later on. And I mean, they're talking plastic kits, so I mean, that would be a lot of fun. Absolutely.
E75 would be cool too, or an E50.
Yeah. Depends how many of those they think they're going to sell, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'd love a Kugel Blitz.
Yes. So
Anyway.
what chassis is that on? Is that on a Panther chassis?
It's a Panzer 4J.
Oh, Panzer 4J. So it could be done as an upgrade kit?
Yeah, you could just have a Panzer 4, a Panzer 4 plastic kit,
and throw
then
the turret away.
And put a different turret on.
Yeah. Well, that could be fun.
I had somebody reach out to me and say that they had a plastic Panzer J sprue already.
No, some guy made one from scratch with bits.
Ah, right.
But they haven't got a plastic 4J. That could be something they're planning in the future. I don't know, but they don't have one yet.
Again, all of that is wild speculation.
Yeah, because I mean, why would they even do that? I mean, essentially, it's that minor tiny differences. You know, like there's a different exhaust, and I mean, of course, for some people like me, I would definitely want that, but I mean, not everyone.
You could always put the different exhaust on the upgrade sprue. Anyway, so let's talk about... So I was hoping Spammerai would be here, because Spammerai always, when he's watching, gives us a hard time about Shermans. Well, there's a new one. So this I found yesterday. Somebody posted this up on one of the forums. So that's actually the upgrade sprue for the M4A2 MCHA. So you get the M4A3 plastic kit from 6 or 7 years ago, and in the box you also get a number of these new upper hulls.
So what is the difference, Harry?
I was looking at it, there's a very minor difference in the layout of the engine deck.
Yeah,
so where the fuel filler caps and the engine deck and the tools, it's ever so slightly different from the M4A3. I'm really disappointed that they didn't do the earlier small hatch M4A2, because I would use a bunch of those with my Italian British. So British fighting in the Italy campaign, because a lot of M4A2s went there for the Brits, but we get the late war ones for the Soviets.
So that's interesting then. So they're willing to do that for the Sherman, but we were just speaking about the minor changes to like the Panzer 4J.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something they will do in the future.
Maybe it is. But again, I mean, that would be easy to do with an upgrade sprue. So you wouldn't have to do the whole thing.
But,
so
I mean,
they're really getting into this upgrade sprue thing.
Yeah, but you'd think, though, if they were going to do it for Berlin German, then we might have heard something about it by now.
So probably not Berlin German.
Finns use the Panzer 4J, right?
Sorry, that was the Finns?
Finns, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Adam?
Possibly. I think they had the H and the J's. But, the Germans were basically pumping them out later in the war because they required less time to build. They were simpler. They didn't have all the nice bits, like they didn't have a powered turret, among other things, that the H had. So it was just basically, how do we simplify the Panzer 4 to make it faster to produce and require less parts, so it costs less and quicker. Yeah.
Didn't one of the countries against Israel use like 200 Panzer 4Js
Syria.
as well?
Syria had a heap of ex-German stuff. Yeah.
So it could also be used for that conflict. I don't know. But yeah.
And Bulgaria, I think, as well.
Right.
Oh, right.
So Droxlick was saying, I'm not super informed on all the Lend-Lease stuff the Soviets get, but I always saw in the Facebook group people ask if the MCHAs are coming to mid-war. So yeah, this is coming to late war. So these are the late M4A2 with the large hatch and the differently sloped front and that kind of stuff. So I would have to look at when they became available. Possibly 43, but more likely 44, I should think.
Yeah, I at the moment I can't see them coming back and adding.
No, if they were going to do it, they'd have done it. I would have thought.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows? Maybe in the future they might do like a booklet or something like they've done with the 21st Panzer and other things.
It'll be good hull for the Marines in the Pacific.
Yeah, so the Marines use these, which is good.
I've still got some of those resin ones with the wood
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
improvised armor.
Need to have the spikes coming out of the hatches and that. Anti-infantry spikes. That'd be cool. Anyway, going off topic here.
That's all right. So Frank from Panzerschule just dropped in. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Hello.
So Ben, Frank, I believe, is the only other guest other than James Irwin that we've had on. So, hi, Frank.
You had someone else, I think.
Did we? We had James to start with.
Yeah, you had James, and then you had someone else for the pre-tournament.
Yeah, Frank.
Yeah, that's right. It was Frank. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. All right, so that's the M4A2. We've got stuff to get through. So part of what you do get, Adam's going to look at some of these. So this is the T-34 forward detachment. You also get an MCHA version of this too.
Yes.
Packed full of Shermans, don't you?
Yeah, I just think the Soviets have these really cool formations which have just got a bit of everything. I think they're like the Swiss Army knife of formations. You know, you've got your HQ, which can either be a T-34 or the motor rifle HQ if you want infantry or armor. Then you've got your T-34-85 company, and they're all hero companies too, so they're going to be better. It means that they're hit on 4s, save on 3. So something that the Soviets haven't had yet.
And that's part of how this book works, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the Berlin book, if you want normal Soviet stuff, the Bagration book will do you.
Yep.
If you want what was the
elite,
previous Soviet one? But these are the elites. So the Berlin Berlin book is the guards and the hero units and the more elite stuff. And as you say, you
get standard MCHA too.
Yeah, because it wasn't in the other book. Yeah, but most of these are guards units or hero units.
More veteran units, I guess.
But in this case, I'm guessing the book is representing they were trying different formations. They were winning the war. They had enough gear. They were able to make different organizations, groups, ad hoc stuff to try out new formations. Would that be reasonable to say, Adam?
Yeah, I think they just got, with all the experience that they had with fighting the Germans on the Eastern Front, they've got a really good idea of what works. Like, they've almost kind of copied the German Panzer Grenadier companies or the camp group, where you've got your dedicated organic artillery, you've got your organic AA in the ZSU, you've got your light self-propelled artillery, you've got your mortars, and then you've got infantry. It's almost like a mechanized, almost like a modern mechanized sort of battalion or company. So I think this looks really cool. If I'm going to make one of these, I think it'll look great. I mean, they're probably, still going to, they're going to be expensive. It's not going to be as cheap as it was previously, but they do look fun.
So Ben, Frank is actually giving you a really hard time in the comments, just in case you hadn't noticed. So he's saying the quality of guest has dropped off dramatically since me. He's also saying that Frank probably smells better too, because he's taking a break from airbrushing just now.
Oh, no.
Frank, that's some serious shade, man. That's... Oh, dear. So Droxel is saying, on the whole, Red Army generals are trying to one-up one another to capture Berlin. Fair enough. Yeah, but it's also... They've been fighting the Germans, and the Germans are very good at pulling together ad hoc units and having diverse things together as a group. I mean, we see that these days with a lot of people coming through to battalion tactical groups and things like that with a lot of organic stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, they still haven't worked out how to use them properly, and they're going back to their old ways.
I'm not talking about any specific stuff.
I didn't talk about that specific thing either.
No, because the American organization is very similar to that now, that there's a lot more organic stuff at that level. So
Yeah.
you've got your own artillery on call and that kind of stuff.
I think these days Soviets have run out of infantry. But anyway.
Again, we're not talking about any of that.
Nope.
So the Soviet mechanized corps was similar to a German Panzer Grenadier division, and the Soviet tank corps was similar to a Panzer division. Yeah.
But I think they made it that way by late war. I think it didn't start out like that in mid-war. It was pretty much just, you're all infantry, you're all tanks. And we'll kind of support each other, but we weren't really very good at it. Whereas they certainly got much, much better at it by the time they got to Berlin.
That tends to happen with a lot of wars, though, as people get more experience. It's like in peacetime, the tanks do the tank stuff and the infantry do the infantry stuff. But as you gain more experience and you become more of a battle-hardened group, it's much more like, no, combined arms. We've learnt that lesson again, combined arms. All right, shall we move on and look at the next thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the forward detachment, and that's fun because there's a lot of organic stuff in there.
Now, this is, I love this stuff. So you've got the red banner rifle. So these are like even better than heroes. These are your elite Soviet infantry guys. But what they do have, which is cool, is a red banner assault tank company, which is a mixed T-34 85mm and a ZSU. ISU 152. Now, if you have a look at the stats, you've got the T-34, which has a trained of 4+, crafty tactics of 3+. And then you've got the ISU 152, which has a skill of trained 4+, and an assault gun tactics of 5+. So if you really want to blitz really well, make the T-34 your unit leader. Because the blitz role is based off your unit leader.
Yeah.
So don't make the ISU 152 unit leader. But I think this is cool. You can only get one of them. But really cool little mixed thing. So it can either take out tanks or it can blast gun teams or infantries and things like that.
It is a fun support thing for infantry though, isn't it? Because you've got, like if you take fire from a building, you can trundle up your ISU 152s and make a building go away.
Yeah.
Or if you get harassed by some tanks, you've got some pretty heavy firepower to clog them with.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you can
There's
even
a lot of painting
probably
involved with that company, though.
Yeah.
Oh, painting Soviet infantry is fun.
Yeah, easy too. Yeah. But even with the ISU 152, you could actually have them sitting back with their, well, not heaps far back, but with their guns or their sort of holding back, and then move the T-34s up to flank. They've got the speed to do that and the skill. But I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, no, it looks like a lot of fun, and an infantry-based unit. So they've got the little flag thing. Do they get? So there are actually special banner rules for banner parties in the book.
And I'll just go to those.
And then they're going to release models with the flag as well.
They most certainly are. Yeah, they're in the direct.
Yep.
I think in 2 weeks' time there's a direct release where a whole bunch of direct stuff comes out, including amphibious jeeps and a bunch of other stuff, but also banner carriers. So all available direct, so you have to go and buy.
Are they bringing back the tank riders as well? Because I mean that's an iconic Russian sort of thing, isn't it? Load of men on the back of the tank.
Had they decided that was a dumb idea by 1945 or what?
Hollywood leads you to believe that they didn't. Yeah,
Hollywood leads you to believe all sorts of things. So, Christian, you did a painting video recently about, you painted a T-34-85, didn't you?
Yeah, I painted a T-34-85. I'd never painted a Soviet tank before, so I was just sort of winging it, and I just went with a super weathered look, because that's, again, what Hollywood leads you to believe they were like, so, and reference photos I used, so.
Yeah, I remember looking at the painting video going, no, I wouldn't be going for 6 layers of rust and crippled fuel and all of those sorts of things.
Come on, they're Russian. They just threw whatever they had into the storm and came out on top.
Yeah, Christian, I'm old. Like, I have to paint things quickly because I might not make it to the end. You know, you got to watch it when you're my age. It's like, no, base coat, wash, dry brush, we're done. Move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's pretty much what it was. There's just quite a few dry brushing stages,
And 16 different washing steps with products from different manufacturers. Yeah, I remember that one. We must do a paint-off video one day where I just spray something green and wash it, and you actually do a real paint job.
I've seen
do
your
it side by
painting. I've
side.
seen your painting. You underestimate yourself.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if we keep going on this, we might get through to seeing people's paint jobs. Oh, these. Yeah. Body armor.
Yeah.
Isn't
The
it,
hero.
Adam?
Yeah, the Hero Engineer Sapper Battalion. So once again, these are even better than they are in Bagration. So you're going to pay through the nose for them. They get the Panzer Faust as they've obviously stole a heap off the Germans. So they just come with them now. They're not an upgrade that you get. I think on the next slide. So here you've got
slide? Nope, that's all the slides you've got.
Oh, okay. So there was another slide possibly that we were going to do that compared them, but basically the units are now slightly smaller. So anything that's hero with Soviets is like the veterans of what's left. So they're smaller, slightly smaller than the Bagration Soviet infantry team sizes, but they're all elite. They're fearless, veteran, hit on fours. Basically, they're like Germans.
And
stats,
they've
if you
got
want to compare them.
So
body
that's
armor and
seven
smoke pots. And
and smoke pots, and then also you can you get the same options for support weapons inside the platoons that you do companies, that you do with in Bagration. So it's just basically better, more elite guys.
I feel bad now because I remember doing the layout in Photoshop for comparing those two, and it took ages to get it all together. And it doesn't seem to have made it into the slides.
Well,
the internet.
It's only your work you've wasted, your time you've
wasted.
Yeah,
no, it was my time I've wasted. Trekan says transporting infantry on tanks was still common in Soviet units in 45. So
yeah.
Okay.
I can't see them, the tank riders, on the Flames of War pre-order.
No, I didn't see them in anywhere.
You might have to hunt your local game store to see if they've got them.
They look so cool though. On those Russian tanks, the original ones where they had the flags as well. It's like, oh, that looks so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything more we want to say about Bagration, Berlin Soviets?
I've got a question. Sorry,
yeah, sure.
About command cards. Are we going to see any of their allies, so like the Polish and whoever else was fighting with them?
Probably.
Yeah, don't know. Haven't seen the command cards. They sent me a PDF of the book, and that was it.
Yeah. They didn't send me the PDF of the command cards either.
They didn't send the command cards with the last book either, so they seem to have stopped doing that. So I couldn't tell you, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but I think yes.
Oh, Druxlit, yes. Sorry, I keep forgetting because I've covered a bunch of this stuff. I did a Modeling for Advantage live stream on this a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, Cossacks, mounted Cossacks are coming in the book. And you also get, so I'm assuming they're a command card because they're not mentioned anywhere in the actual book. But you also get a wagon with a HMG on it.
The Kamchatka.
A horse-drawn wagon with a heavy machine gun mounted on it.
I just picked some of those up the other day, actually.
He says casually. Yeah.
I'm going to use them for my Hungarian heavy machine cavalry guys.
Fair enough.
Because
So I thought this was an interesting release in that it covers the guards and the heroes and that kind of stuff. These are the veteran troops who've made it all the way across into Germany, fighting all the way. So, yeah. No, that's what this book is for, if you want to run elite guys. But they do cost more. So you do get the hit on 4+ and that kind of stuff for some of the units. But
and I think I I've done an article on it. It won't probably come out next week or so, but on the Soviet tank markings for well, in general, but for Berlin specifically.
Yeah.
And normally, I think Soviet sort of tank vehicle markings, it's not like the British or the Americans or even the Germans, where it's very specific and there's different symbols and
Yeah,
colors
it's
and
not as
things.
systematized, is it?
No,
a
it
bit
did
more
get
ad hoc.
slightly at the end of the war, but it was real pretty much like this guard corps is doing whatever it wants, and this guard corps is doing this. It did have a 2, 3, or 4 numbering
Yeah,
system,
attack number.
and it just depended on which division or battalion or corps or whatever or brigade at the time wanted to use what. But the one thing you do really get to see, which I think always looks cool, and the iconic one is probably the IS-2 tank with the recognition markings on the side of the tank and along the top with the polar
Oh, the
bear.
white bars. Yeah.
So that's the 7th Guards
Mm.
corps is the one with the polar bear, and that's the iconic one. But so pretty much, I think in April 45, there was from Soviet High Command went out and basically said, listen, because they had so much air superiority and it was both east and west coming together over Berlin, we're going to put air recognition markings on our tanks.
Right.
Big
Fair
ones.
enough.
And that's why they had all those lines on their tanks, because they were basically worried about bombing their own guys.
Yeah, well, they were Americans, so, they'll just drop
Well, and
bombs on anybody.
exactly, they were worried about the Americans just going, oh, well, there's tanks versus tanks, and it's Soviets, so who cares? And
It moved. That's enough for me. Drop the bombs, boys.
Yeah. I killed all these crowds. But yeah, and so I think this is the one time I think in Berlin with your Soviet force, apart from a really cool, I don't know if you've ever seen it, the winterized 41 Soviet. With the netting, it looks like spider webs almost.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to try that. It looks awesome. But this will be this is the one time we can really put like iconic kind of markings on your tanks, and I think is a modeling thing, and it's a really cool part of the war for the Soviets. So you can have your tank riders and.
Yep. So there's a chat going on in the chat about Soviet cavalry wasn't always Cossacks. The recce units used horses. So yeah, there was still, even with the increasingly mechanized forces in the late war, there was still horse-drawn stuff. And the German army, I seem to remember,
they had their own Cossacks as well.
Yeah, but they were also still very horse-dependent, even late into the war. Yeah,
I think for transport, but they did have the Maria Theresa and two SS cavalry divisions that did have horses, but I think they pretty much ate them all in Budapest. And
yeah, no, that's a handy thing about horses.
Yeah,
you can't eat a truck. Okay, Cossack directors or Cossack units. Yeah, so it will be fun to see them. They look like fun to paint.
Yeah,
they really do.
I will say with every new release or book that's coming out, I feel like they're getting better and better. Like the books are just getting better and better. They're adding a few little more unique things to it just to give it a little bit more flavor. And yeah, I'm impressed every time we do this. It just gets significantly better.
And again, you guys have convinced me about command cards that's where you can add the flavor in.
Yeah, I think they try to do something more fun or gamey in mid-war with the command cards, and it kind of didn't work.
Yeah.
And then people but they've really fixed it with late war, I feel.
Yeah.
Mostly.
I'd love to see, how they've got the dynamic points now where you can go on forces, you can select dynamic points. I'd love for there to be like, you go on there and select historical or something, and you can it will bring up historical lists. So you don't have to do all the hard work of I'll get this command card, I'll go to this book and grab this. So try and make it like that. They've already got them fleshed out for you.
That's
if they've got the option.
What I was actually talking with them, I've just kind of run out of time and been lazy, but actually going through books and doing up historical scenarios and not equal base point stuff, but saying, a certain section of El Alamein and, this force versus this force. kind of almost like a historical campaign thing,
Yeah.
or not a campaign, like a reenactment almost.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun because
Yeah.
my points are the same as your points, and what can we squeeze into our lists?
Mm.
Yeah.
They've already got a whole repository full of V3 lists, so if they just converted them to V4, they can. I mean, it sounds simple. Obviously, it's a lot of work, but
Yeah.
if they've got
But
the
you can
ability
do that
to
yourself.
change it, you can. But I'm talking about forces. If I'm new to the game and I go on forces and I'm making up a force, I then have the option to be like, hey, I really want to make a historical list here. I don't really know what to do. I'll select historical, and boom, I can make myself the first airborne division in Market Garden without having to get some different books here and there. Not saying that you need to specifically. I'm using that as an example, but I think it's a lot more user friendly for somebody that's new.
It's
People
a lot
that have
of
been in
yeah.
for a while.
That's a lot of work. Like I think it's a great idea, but I think it'd be someone like a me or you that really knew about it and was keen would have to do all that work. I don't know if they'd do it. I think
But
it's a good idea.
they have been playing with different scenarios. I mean, in Red Dawn, I thought it was interesting the scenarios that they'd put in there about quite small forces that represented particular things in the game. And I thought they were doing interesting things with including different and thematic missions in the actual books themselves.
Yeah, if you look at the British Bulge one, there's a good linked campaign about basically the Canadians assaulting across the what's
Yeah,
the name of
there's a linked campaign in the Berlin Soviet one as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
In the mission pack, there's a
Yeah.
new mission type called God, what is it? Holding the line or playing for
That
time or
sounds right.
something. And what they do is they give you do a holding the line while you're trying to hold the Soviets up. Then the next one is either an encounter or something, and then another holding the line. So you actually play about 6 different linked campaigns, games, which
cool.
are basically we're holding the Russians back as much as we can with what they've got.
And I think that'd be really cool for a games club or something if you had some mates and just sort of, instead of rocking up every week or fortnight or whatever you do it, and having just a roll up game, doing these linked campaigns, that'd be really cool.
So anyway, that's that. We can move on now to do stuff we're proud of, if everybody's ready to go along with that.
Yeah, let's do
No
it.
mention of the big 152 on the tractor. I think
the 203 mil. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I forgot to put one in here because it was.
We mentioned that
no.
last stream as well.
We did.
The 203mm storm gun
203.
platoon, they call it.
Man, that is awesome.
Yeah.
The machine gun on the bloody cart gets higher priority than the tractor with the massive gun.
Yeah, well, everybody's got a tractor with a massive gun.
Yeah.
So Ben's been a bit quiet because poor Ben is not a Flames of War player yet. We're still enticing him in. We've got to find the right candy to get him in. But he and I have quite often played with his East Germans. So Ben, you're going to tell us a little bit about your East German force that I'm annoyingly familiar with.
All right, so Team Yankee is my first war game. So I didn't start at 40k or BattleTech or anything like that. I've been playing Red Alert, World in Conflict, war game. So all that like Cold War gone hot stuff was really my jam. And then I found this game, Team Yankee, and East Germans were my army in war games. So when the East Germans came out, I think it was the second release, I really got into it. So this is like my eternal project. I'm going to be adding to it for forever. I'm going to add all sorts of stuff like MI8s and SA8s and stuff like that.
So MI8 helicopters.
Yeah,
Yeah, awesome. Are you going to order some of those?
Probably get them 3D printed.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We just lost Battlefront. Bye, guys. See ya.
So this is
Actually,
the
so now
So we'll be
Battlefront's
buying
gone.
5.
Oh,
So this is
dear.
the 3-color camo. So it's not
Yep.
exactly historical to 1985. So
No, this
it
was
was
slightly
something that
later,
they
wasn't
were
it?
introducing 88, 89, 90, and they weren't even started. Well, they'd only done a few tanks before the wall fell and the army was disbanded. So yeah, you wouldn't see this many in the 3-color camo, in 85.
But it looks awesome.
Yeah.
They
does
do
look
look
great.
marvelous
It does
on
look
the
great.
table. The only problem with seeing these on the table is Ben puts some down, and then he reaches in his bag and puts down some more, and then he reaches back in and puts down some more and some more.
Yeah, no, on game day, I've got like a bandolier. I've got a bag on each side of me as I come in.
Yeah. And what did I have? I had 3 tanks and some warrior
warriors?
IFVs. Yeah,
I think you
something
had
like that.
2 sections of 4.
Certainly the guy in charge of the game shop we were having our game came over and said, "Is that all you get?" I've actually got pictures of that later on. So yeah, and it's the same thing here. They're just lovely. They really are.
So those ones at the top there, they're the BRM ones from Skytrex. So it looks like a BMP2, but it's actually a recon version of BMP1. And there's the
Cool.
PSC T55s. So
Jacob.
I saw
Hey.
those resin T55s and I thought, nah, thanks. I think they were $70 a box, and that was
Yeah, no.
back in $2016 or whatever. So they were very expensive.
And is this your own terrain as well? Because it looks awesome.
Oh yeah. This is my my carry tray that I don't really use because it's not big enough for my board.
Yeah, for what you need. You're doing a good job.
Yeah. So yeah, there's those. And there's just so many of those T55s. They just never stop. They just keep coming.
So Ben, what's your win-loss ratio using East Germans for somebody that doesn't play Team Yankee?
I think it'd be about even. But that's a bit padded because I play against Harry a lot.
He's being very kind. He's leading, I think 3-1. I've won 1. Just because in the end I had challenges when they'd first come out and he didn't have anything that could dong them.
Right.
But that was all I had left.
Bunch of AT21, so I think I had to roll like 2 6s in a row or something.
Yeah, to bail me.
Yeah.
You did it once though.
Oh well, I wanted to get 2 so I could try and make them run away.
Yeah. So up the top here, so these are your objectives that you use, and these are just lovely. These are specialist.
So those are from Skytrex as well.
BTR60PU.
BTR60PK.
PK, the command version.
Yeah, and that's
and the other
big
one's
Fred.
the small Fred.
No, the small Fred.
That's a big Fred.
Cropped out my small Freds.
Oh,
so
sorry.
That's the big Fred.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun trying to get very wide shots cropped onto a screen so human beings could see them
properly. I had probably a lot of blurry stuff.
Oh dear.
And
no, it's
down
just
the bottom
on
there. They're the
Yeah.
much complained about MiG-23s.
The Academy MiG-23s.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
So
just that the
proportions
nose
don't look
is
right,
the wrong
do they?
scale. Yeah, the
Yeah.
nose. There is actually a 3D printed replacement nose that you can download from Thingiverse.
I think
that
they're a
actually
lot
gives a
longer.
proper
It
nose.
looks like they've squashed it down.
Yeah.
On what?
It
On which one?
on
the
the
ones on
swing
the
wing
left
one
there.
on the left. Yeah.
Well, they're the SU-27s.
No, so we've got
MiG-23.
SU-22s on the right, and on the left of the picture we've got MiG-23s.
Oh, MiG-23s, right.
Yeah, MiG-23s. But yeah, the Academy kit is famous that everything forward of the air intakes is just...
Yeah, it doesn't look
Yeah,
right.
it's like
little-
somebody described
yeah.
it to a blind guy and he went and carved it for them.
Yeah, it's like the nose is on upside down or something. Or...
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
that's a different piece you have to put on the front of the 2 halves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't look great.
No.
I mean, you've done a really good job, but you can only work with what you've got.
The shape is just wrong.
Yeah.
Like there's supposed to be a big air intercept radar in there because those things were originally built as interceptors.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got somebody's lunch in there and not much else.
Yeah.
So Droxlit's saying, I haven't bought the MiG-23s yet, we'll buy them eventually. Are they really annoying to assemble?
Not
would you say
really,
about
because it's an academy kit, so the parts are pretty large. So unlike the SU-22, which comes in 2 halves and you put them together, it comes in a top and a bottom half because it's got like a mechanism where you can swing the wings back and forth. They got like a cog in the middle that helps you do that. So you put so you do the bottom and then you drop the wings in and then you put this lid bit on top.
Yeah. So there is actually a 1/44 scale Dragon kit, which I've been researching online, which apparently looks great.
Yeah, is that
but
the
you can't buy them for
MiG-23BN?
love nor money. Yeah, they were marketed as the MiG-23BN as well.
Yeah, I think I got a couple of boxes up there actually.
Oh wow, okay. You have to show us those later. No, not you don't have
Later?
to do it now. Oh, nice shirt, by the way. I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, but that picture's wrong. It's actually a MiG-23.
Right. Awesome. Well, I'm jealous now.
Yeah, eBay. They're on eBay.
The only ones I could find on eBay cost more than my kidneys.
Oh, there's some cheap Chinese seller got them, I think.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I'll have to look at those. Anyway, so this is some more. Like I didn't even know what those top ones were. Are they a domestically produced BRDM version?
$20, Harry.
For the Dragon one?
Yeah, there's a MiG-23 flogger in Australia, like $20 posted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a Dragon though. It's mini hobby models.
Yeah, mini
which
hobby
is
model. Yep.
right. Okay. I'll have to have a look at that.
So those are the 2 BRDM2 looking ones. They're the Hungarian PSH IVs.
Mm-hmm.
So they were only used by the East German Border Guard. They weren't used by the National People's Army.
Right.
Yeah, so
Which one's that?
The 2 armored cars up the top there.
Oh, okay. So not the
Just
Jeep
painted in
ones,
green. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. So those are a QRF kit.
Yeah. And how did you find that? Because I've got a QRF kit in mine. If we get as far as mine later
Did
on.
they discontinue the range at some point? I don't know if they changed.
Back.
Oh, it's back.
Yeah. So QRF discontinued their modern range for a while, and they were even selling off the molds.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But
yeah.
as far as I've heard, they're back on again. I might be wrong because I actually didn't mind the QRF stuff I built.
Yeah, it's heavy metal, so and you might have to do a bit of filing to sort of get it right.
Fair enough, but I mean the end result looks pretty good. there.
Yeah, no, like you can't get them anywhere else unless you're 3D printing. So yeah, I was pretty happy with how they turned out.
Yeah.
Awesome. And those are Battlefront.
Although someone's got a
3D
3D printer, haven't you, Harry?
Not that I've used in nearly a year. That's the pattern. People buy 3D printers, print a half a dozen things, go, fuck, this is awesome. And then, it sits there. I mean, okay, I've had a mother-in-law and all sorts of other stuff, but that's just excuses.
Yeah. Excuse.
Yeah, excuses. So what do we got next?
Oh,
so remember we talked about the line of stuff?
Jeez.
So you can see the picture on the right-hand side there is what got plonked down across from me on the table. Like, we couldn't play long ways down the table because you had to come across because you just couldn't lay all your stuff out. Because what you can't see is it keeps extending up out of the top of that
up
picture.
In the
there's more
background
infantry
up there, there's another whole heap up the top there.
Oh, dear. So, yep. And you can see there, there's my British infantry dug in the objective with all the East Germans coming at them.
No, you can't pin those guys for anything. You roll 5 hits on them, and then the next turn they're back up. You can't pin them.
Yeah, we did find you were deadly with spigots, though.
Yeah, they're up on the hill, I think, over there.
Yeah, so the BTR infantry get spigot anti-tank guided missile launchers, and they can shoot at dug-in infantry. So they can only kill 1 stand per round, but they kill 1 stand every round.
1 stand
and they were
round.
they were just pinging these guys one at a time because there's a whole bunch of launchers on it. It's a large base with like 3 launchers on it or something.
Yeah, you get 2 bases of 3 launchers, so
and you get at least 1
shots.
hit. Yep. So yeah, no, you dug me out of there.
The BTR 60 is worth taking. Just you take a small section and then you fit it out with the 2 stands of spigots, and the firepower just from those 2 stands is just really good.
Yeah. So I wasn't worried about the tanks or the BMPs you can see coming or the BTRs up on the hill. It was the hill way over the other side of the table with a bunch of infantry on it that were kicking my backside. Man, that hurt. And this didn't help. So I'm shooting at the T-55s with my Challengers, and I roll this handful of Dice of War dice.
Hey.
I needed 4s.
I take no responsibility for the lack of luck of the owner of those dice.
So anyway, yeah, that's you don't tend to win very well if you keep rolling shit like that. Oh dear.
Well, they certainly looks like a fun battle.
It was a lot of fun. I did actually.
There was some wild moments in that one.
There were.
The command team driving all the way to the back of the map.
Oh yeah, I didn't put that on. So I only won that game because I ran my command team up the road, got the warrior AFE shot out from underneath me. The passengers survived, leapt onto the objective, pinned down, and then rallied the next turn before Ben could get anybody there.
Yep.
That was the only reason I won that one, but it was a win, and I'll take it.
Yeah. No, the best games. Wowzers.
So Trekad saying East German Army handbooks to changing the T engine would take 96 hours. That's... Yeah,
and then he's made a comment at the after that, but that was pessimistic approach. Normally you just said...
Just 48 hours.
Is that all?
Awesome. Wow. Glad I didn't have to do that. Okay, so Ben, that was your East German Army. And Ben is my regular opponent.
I have to get together again soon.
We do. I don't know what to bring. I won't get my VDV finished anytime soon, so I might have to actually finish painting those Brits and give them another outing. So let's move on to Christian, who's now come back from wherever he fell off on the internet there. Are you back with us, Christian?
He looks like a bit frozen.
Fallen off again.
He does look a bit frozen, doesn't he?
He's very, very concerned.
He is.
He's a bit nervous.
He is a bit nervous. Let me put him back on. Are you there, Christian? He's not.
And you were the guy saying that
I was the guy who was having internet problems earlier. Well, it's the Long Range Desert Group.
Yeah.
I saw these guys on the table once in one of our early war games. He moved. Are you back, Christian?
I'm back.
He's back, but he's not making any noise. Oh, right.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Harry's just been
No, I couldn't hear him for a second there.
Oh, okay.
No.
And I thought you were the one that had the bad internet, Harry. My God.
We were just saying that.
Yeah. So this was
all right, Long Range Desert Group.
Yeah, this was my very first four. So half of it, I'm gonna be completely honest, was painted by somebody else. But this was my first venture into Flames War. It was my first ever army in wargaming, and I stupidly thought it would be a great idea to take to a tournament, and I didn't game. So, but it was very fun. They looked cool on the.
They look cool. You would have looked really cool while dying.
Mm.
That's always the best.
Yeah.
That's always the best thing.
I think it's a bit more like, who the hell's this guy that's brought an LRDG army? I've never seen him or heard of him before. And I'm like, oh, here it is.
Yeah, you would be like, oh, these trucks will save me, and then they're dead. But yeah.
Yeah.
So did you have any success with them? Were they a good army for you to use?
I had a draw against Jacob's Japanese, and I was this close to beating him, but I just ran out of time, and it was like a stalemate. We were at a church, and we were just taking shots between the church at each other. So I was this close to capturing the objective, but no, we played out for a draw. But that was the closest I got to.
Yeah.
They do look lovely.
They are very nice. So hopefully at some point those will get re-released for early war when early war gets done.
Well, I'm redoing my original list, so I've bought them all again after selling them years ago. I bought them all again, and I'm repainting them all. With
this
more
idea of
technique,
selling armies, like
Yeah, I
I've
don't
got
know.
crap here from the 1980s somewhere buried in cupboards.
Christian's like, I'm selling this, and then it's like, oh, now I'm buying it back again. And I'm like, why
No,
because
it's like I've got all this stuff just sitting here collecting dust, and I feel
That's
like
the point.
That's
the
I
point.
get better with my painting over the
Yeah, he
years,
likes
and I
the
want to go on a
painting part.
holiday. Yeah, I love
just
the
buy
painting.
more figures. Just buy more figures, and then leave the other ones in the cabinet.
Got to make room for the older stuff. Get rid of that, and
Yeah,
bring
buy a
in the
bigger
new
house.
stuff.
But spend a bigger
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, add another story on. That'll do the trick.
Hey, build a studio.
Yeah. I don't have much
All
of a
right.
back garden for that.
No. So yeah, those are lovely, and I really would like if those were available, I would definitely buy some more.
Yeah, they were cool. So these have probably been shown before, but that top picture was an 88 that I was using against Adam's Brits. I think, did I win that game? I don't know.
No,
It might have been a
think
draw.
so. I can't remember. No,
Oh, okay.
definitely.
Yeah. So that was attached
You
to
did
my
win fair and square.
that was attached to my Fallschirmjäger list, which
What's the list?
Panzerschul's tutorials. That's when I really got into painting properly. So
Right.
I was painting up until that point, but never took it to that next level. And this is where it really, I moved on from there. So that was thanks to Panzerschul.
So is
And
that
then
a
the
plastic
Martyrs.
kit, or is that
Yeah, it looks really sharp.
the resin
The
metal?
martyrs are plastic.
The Martyrs are plastic, but
The
I've
martyrs
put
are definitely
metal.
plastic.
Yeah, the top one is one of the old resin metal kits
Right.
that comes with the like special base.
Right. Okay.
And the Martyrs at the bottom are plastic, and I've just put a metal, I think it was 2 mil, bit of metal over the top to
Yeah,
create
across
the bar
the fighting
that's
compartment.
missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes it a bit more iconic.
As you can see, I was having trouble cropping those to.
That's all right,
on the
mate.
page too.
I just throw you pictures these days, and just whatever
I
comes
know.
out is fine. Yeah, that'll do.
No, I
nicely.
just want to make it big enough that people can actually see what we're talking about, rather than like trying to squint at
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah.
I don't know. Are any of you guys watching on like phones or anything? Because half of this stuff must be, unable to be
At
discerned.
the correct Flames of War size.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I've got old man eyes. Like I have trouble seeing stuff these days.
Ah, right.
1 foot in the grave, dude.
And these were the infantry attachment to my Winter Volksgrenadiers. So I had Panzer. No, what did I have? I had Hetzers, Marders, Panzer 470s, but these were the infantry. So Nebelwerfers, Pack 40s, and some infantry, obviously, to go with them.
And they looked a bit like this.
Yeah, I enjoyed them. I hate painting white, so that wasn't the fun part. But yeah, they were cool.
Yeah.
Probably sell them at one point. Move on.
So I remember
sure.
you did
Why
that
not?
snow tutorial for those guys, didn't you? And doing
Yeah,
little
so I used
footprints in
AK
the
Snow for them, and it worked wonders. I really enjoyed painting the like footprints and stuff.
Yeah,
That was
the
cool.
footprints just go off.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It's cool.
So Droxlet says he's actually working on his work laptop while at work. So just
Oh,
nobody
God.
tell
His lunch break.
Droxlet's boss.
His lunch break.
Lunch break, yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
All right. So Christian, your stuff is just beautiful. Again, I couldn't put that much of my life into painting figures that well.
Then he wants
See,
to
and
sell
that's
them.
As
That's
we'll
the
see
thing for
later.
me, though. Mine is more, I enjoy the painting. The gaming side of it's like, oh, yeah, I enjoy meeting up with you guys on the day. But it's not, winning or losing, which I know for most of us isn't a big thing, but the gaming part is a bit on the lower priority. I just like painting it, but I always have done.
Yeah, and everybody gets something different out of the hobby. I mean, I get completely slaughtered whenever we play. I'm not a great painter, but I love the history aspect.
You're a pretty
Exactly.
good painter, Harry.
Yeah, I know. He never gives himself enough
No,
credit.
look,
himself to
it's
last.
coming up. The proof is coming up. All right. So let's look at Adam. Adam, this is you.
Yeah, these are my Axis. I really seem to like the minor Axis forces. So I've got Hungarians on the top there. So I've got Hungarian Hetzer. I've got a late war assault pioneer platoon command team, and one of the new plastic Zrinyis on the up the top there. Now those new plastic Zrinyis, they're gorgeous. I love them.
They are a
no,
lovely
they're really good.
I was I had all these old resonant metal blisters. I'm like, no, I'll make them, and no, I'll probably just sell them once I find them again. And down the bottom, I've got my Eastern Front Italians for mid-war. So I've got a black shirt command team in the middle there. I've got a 3D printed AS-36. I think it's Progetto. It's like an armored car based off the artillery tractor that they did produce them. I couldn't see a model for it anywhere, so I got a friend to 3D print it for me, which turned out really nice. And then I've got a captured Russian Zis-3 artillery, 76mm artillery on a 25-pounder base, because that's what I'm using them as in my Eastern Front list. I'm using the captured 25-pounders to represent them, because they're pretty much the same.
Right.
Well, very similar gun. But yeah,
so that armored car actually has like protection on the side of it for like firing ports, doesn't it?
Yeah, so those armor plates up top above the fighting compartment, they're actually gun ports, so they're supposed to shoot out the side. And they're actually really big. I think they can fit like 8 guys in the back on top of the driver and the /gunner as well.
Sorry, I was just chuckling and thinking about the BMD video. The fact that the BMD in Team Yankee can carry 2 infantry stands is just astonishing. In case anybody doesn't know, the BMD is the tiny paratroop IFV for the Soviets, and it's famous for carrying 4 infantrymen. You know, there are 4 dudes in there. You cannot fit any more than 4 dudes in there. Anyway, that's that whinge over.
Yeah, and as Trekkan said down the bottom, the Italians did have their own 75mm AT gun, which I've got some figures of from, I think it's Old Glory or some American company that made them. But they're kind of similar to their 75mm artillery, but it's got a slightly longer barrel and not the elevation, but it looks very similar. That's some more pictures of the Zrinyi.
So that's the plastic kit, isn't it?
Yep, they're all plastic kit.
That's
nice.
really nice.
They got excellent detail. They're really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were very nice, but you've done a great job on them there.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, Victor from Battlefront that painted theirs gave me a little bit of advice, and it came out really nice. So very happy with them. Oh, and these are my
this is more pictures of me getting my ass kicked.
Yeah. It was a good game. Yeah.
The problem is when I'm searching for pictures for doing some of this stuff, quite often I'm only taking pictures of games I'm in where I'm getting my ass kicked. So that's Adam doing an end run down the side while my IS-2s are busy struggling for an objective. He's sneaking down the back and mugging all my infantry down, artillery down the back.
I think I remember us having the IS-2s and the M10s having a big slog match.
They were punching it out, yep.
And no one, either you couldn't hit me, and then I'd hit you, and it'd just go donk. and it just
you would bail me, and then my guys would get back in and go, okay, crank the turret around some more.
Yeah, and then we missed. Oh, all right, and I'll hit, and then
we're out
nothing.
again. Okay.
But this is my my 8th Independent Armour Brigade for the British, the Foxes heads, and I've got some. I don't know. People argue whether or not it's actually happened. So the Mickey Mouse camouflage on the M10s. I've seen some black and white photos which seem to suggest that they did have that on the M10s.
Yeah, that's the sort of support vehicle they do them on.
Yeah,
because they were definitely on universal carriers and
Jeeps.
Yeah, they mostly did it on trucks and Jeeps and things, but I have seen some. It's hard to tell with the black and white, but that look very much like the Mickey Mouse. So that's what I did 4 of them as.
I don't care. They look great. So
well, that was pretty much me as well. I didn't. Yeah, people.
No, real cool.
Yeah, and then on the left hand we've got the wonderful British metal and resin kit they used to do with all that stowage. Like each tank was different.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so I had found a couple of those, and all my tanks have got that old stowage and that sort of stuff on it. So still have to finish a little bit off on that force actually, but I just get distracted by other projects.
I don't think I have any force that's more than 80% complete, to be honest, because I only paint when I'm gonna game. So, oops.
What do you paint for the mid-war?
I have no idea. Probably Desert British, because it's the only damn thing I've got that's half painted.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Although I could bring some Russians, because I've got this Russian force. I did this one for one of the tournaments we did. I can't remember which one that was, but that's so my IS-2s, which were terrible, frightened everybody but didn't actually do much. The IS-85s I found were more useful, but absolutely the stars of the show were the KV-8s up the top, the flamethrower tanks.
So this is when everyone calls BS on you not being able to paint, because those tanks look awesome.
What I do know how to do is use Photoshop. Yep, they look great.
Sure it is, yeah.
Oh dear, no, they're not bad. I was reasonably happy with those. But yes, I used to stick the SMG infantry on the back of these guys and trundle them up to objectives, and then
that's so cool.
Chuck those guys off and flame them. Although,
those guys did really well in their battle, I thought.
They did really well until I think they needed a 3 to clear the objective so I could win the game, and I didn't roll anything higher than a 2 on like 8 flamethrower dice. It's like, I'll just lose now. Oh dear. But it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with those guys. Interestingly, the infantry that I painted up there didn't actually come, because I took them out of the bag to paint the markings on them, the unit markings on the back of them, and then never actually put them in the bag. So I had an incongruous bunch of leftover late war British who were running around pretending to be Soviets. That was very embarrassing. They looked great, they just didn't come to the tournament. Oh man. And for my Team Yankee, I have got some M113 T50s, so these guys are... I
love the rapiers. They're so cool.
Yeah, the rapiers. They're QRF. So, the Australia never had tracked rapier. We had towed rapier. So I actually made up a card and bought 4 of these QRF towed rapier. And they were a lot of fun. I really, really liked them. They come with a ton of stuff, though, because when you buy them, it comes with like a trailer, and each of them has a radar set as well, and they all come with a whole bunch of stuff.
That's awesome.
And most of it's still in a bag somewhere, so if anybody wants any blind fire radars or little trailers and stuff, then go for it. I got tons of them sitting in a bag. Some Leopard AS1s, those are actually... So Battlefront is left already, right? Plastic Soldier Company. Yeah, leopards.
So that's the pre-Ozcam scheme, is it?
Yeah, so
Mm.
Ozcam is actually complete rubbish for 1985. I think it was the 1990s before they even started experimenting with Ozcam. And that's also why my infantry there, that's actually the Team Yankee infantry, but the other platoon I've got is actually NAM. They're all in jungle green, so nobody cares.
Mm.
Yeah, nobody can
Because
tell.
did the Aussies go to M16s or was it SLRs and then to the Steyr?
Yeah, so they never fully transitioned to M16s. The M16s were a squad commander, optional weapon, SAS, but most of it
Right.
was
Okay.
SLRs. I really liked the SLRs. I trained on those and was actually a reasonable shot with the old SLR. But
Because
yeah,
did they still
disassembling
use?
that was fun.
When did they stop using the Owen gun? Because I know the Owen was also a NCO weapon as well, wasn't
The
it?
Yeah, and they used that until the Malayan emergency, but after that, we switched over to the Sterling.
Right. Okay.
Fired those too, but you often got hot brass where you didn't want hot brass. So yeah,
Ah.
so yeah, I was happy with how they came out. They weren't
Yeah,
bad.
it looked good. Very
Yeah,
good.
and
Ooh, that's a lovely kit.
I
The,
did. It is a lovely kit, and that was actually a terrible paint job that turned out all right. So that was
Yeah,
I did a video about I spray painted those on a really humid day, and the light color got
Oh,
yeah.
very
No, that was
orange
my
peely.
fault.
No,
Yeah, I told you to bring them, and you're like, I'm not putting them on the table without painting them, and then I forced, yeah, you painted them on a bad day.
it's not really your fault that I can't paint.
I don't know. I reckon with those cans, you know how you get that weird powdery effect sometimes.
Yeah,
I think it's just a dodgy can because I don't know.
and those are
I've done it
Vallejo
all
spray
sorts of
cans.
humidity.
And I mean, I painted the Russians were all painted with 4BO out of the Vallejo spray cans, and they're all great. These guys are all undercoated with Russian uniform out of Vallejo spray cans, and they're all fine. But yeah, that went really powdery. So it's either a bad can or, wrong atmospheric conditions. It was a very humid day.
The only time I've had really bad is when I've used a matte varnish, and it's so frustrating when you finish a paint job and you're like, yeah, I'll just use this can. And it happened one time I was in Japan for some reason, and it just powdered everything, and I was. But you can save it usually if you put another good coat of matte
Yeah,
varnish
like
on
a wet
top.
coat. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can save it even more if you actually don't put a sealing coat over it at all, like me.
Yeah.
No, it really
Yeah.
brings it out if you have a matte varnish on there. If you've made some stuff ups that sort of blends everything in together,
Mm.
Yeah.
I think matte varnish is really good.
Yeah, so Droxlet's saying he's had powdery matte varnish as well.
Yeah. No, it's very frustrating when it does happen, but you can save it.
Trekan
Iraqi's
says
revenge.
that Iraqi's revenge. Yep, they fiddled with my spray can. How
Yeah.
dare they?
Chemical
Oh,
weapons.
guys.
Chemical weapons.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Okay, so we've done Berlin, Soviet, and we've had a bit of a look at builds that we're particularly proud of. I hope that was useful to people who've come along and had a look. A number of people have dropped in the chat who I have missed while we were talking about stuff. Victor is here. He's unboxing the Resin CH46 C
Ooh.
Knight. Oh, man, you must be in a job that pays a lot of money. No, I looked at those resin helicopters and just couldn't. Like Christian, I'd be saying, where would I hide them?
Yeah.
For the one time I might use them somewhere.
I think like if you've got a force, like, I don't know. I kind of one of those hobby collector guys that like I'm a completist. Like I have to have
Yeah.
one of every thing. So like I'd probably have one just to have it like with my Folsom Jaeger like, you know, to sort of sit around and whatever. But yeah, as in how often you'd use it. Yeah.
Oh.
Would be cool though.
So
Yeah.
Droxit says Pacific when?
The
It's like,
people
man,
want
we don't know.
Pacific.
We don't make this stuff. We just like
after early war.
yeah, which
Oh,
means
yeah.
it's a reasonable
want
way
early
away
war.
yet. You can still play it in. You've got V3 lists for it, haven't you?
Yeah,
But they're
you can
not
still
producing
play
the models anymore, are they? They're not. Well, they're not releasing the Japanese and the Marines. I think that's what people want.
Yeah.
We can make up the allies with
I don't know. I reckon
whatever we got.
like a lot of the guys I've spoke to that did stock the Japanese or the Marines, they weren't. They found that they weren't the best sellers. Perhaps it was whatever, but I mean, you can still find them. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it would be good if they
Yeah.
did a direct release because you could use for like early war Pacific in terms of like the Brits and that. You can use 8th Army because they were redirected to the Pacific in their shorts. So, you know, defending Singapore and Hong Kong and all those other places.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it would be worth it. But yeah, I don't work for Battlefront. I just paint. I wish.
Yeah. The commute to New Zealand from here is hell, though.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I work on the RAF base. I'll just hop in one of the aircraft they've got there, get over there quick, smart.
yep. So what are we going to do for next month, gang? At some point, we really have to talk about dynamic points, but that would involve me actually going and finding out how they work.
We should do the dynamic points for the mid-war tournament that we've got planned.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And we should get Ben back in, and he should get a mid-war force ready.
Yeah. If you do like a pre-20 one like you did for the other one, I'll go. Yeah.
Great.
There you go. Got
So,
4 of us.
If you were going to take a mid-war force, would you bring your Hungarians for that? Is there a mid-war list for Hungarians?
Yeah, I think with what I've got, I can sort of put together with my late war stuff. I can sort of put together a mid-war list. I think.
Because I always just bring my British infantry and then throw whatever tanks I have left over at them.
I've got a box of infantry, so I think you can use infantry pretty universally.
And I invested all that time into painting those damn knees, so that they've got to spend some time on the table. And under the dynamic points, I might even be able to bring some Shermans along. I've got a bunch of desert painted Shermans, but I can never afford to put them on the table.
Well,
they did get cheaper, so
yeah.
I was looking for my Pacific Brits. You can get the grants for pretty cheap, and that'd be a pretty good, not just arty, AT support as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were relatively cheap. 4 of them for like 20 odd points. So a pretty good shout for AT support as well.
I think, was it the early war one I bought those Matildas too? I got good value out of those. They worked better than I expected.
There's a command card for them, isn't there?
Yeah. No, not a command card. It's a community card.
Yeah.
You can use it.
Yeah, if the TO says, and I say yes. So
good man. That's because your whole force is community card.
Yeah. No, I remember my Matilda's doing quite well against Tom, who bought those multi-turreted Soviet things, the T-28s or whatever they were, or the T-35s, whatever it was. He bought the multi-turreted monstrosities. Yeah. And that didn't work out. We punched holes in those.
I remember my Panzer IIIs taking out your Shermans as well in that mid-war tournament that we had. So yeah, poor Brits.
Yep. All right, guys. So this is always fun. We always have a ball when we come and do this, but again, we're 20 minutes over time. I'm actually surprised we kept it down to 20 minutes over time, given the amount of stuff we needed to talk about. So I think we've done particularly well. So interesting to see if anybody does want to do stuff from Berlin Soviet. Is anybody interested in, Adam, you were going to do some stuff out of there?
Well, I was going to...
Like the engineers?
Well, I've got two of those engineer companies to do anyway. I bought those for a future project, and I'll
Right.
probably will do them. But I guess when I was doing the article that's not come out, that I saw that Soviet winter camouflage, and
Yeah.
it looks like a heap of fun. So I'll probably do a test figure on that first to see how. And I've always kind of wanted to do one of those whitewash sort of forces too.
I chickened
gonna-
out. My Russian ones that we looked at for, they were supposed to be whitewashed.
I'm kind of scared to do it because it's like, you do the base coat in green and then you're gonna almost wreck it by
Yeah.
putting the other one on top, and I'm like, but yeah.
Hey, Druxlit wants us to record battle reports. There we go.
I think when we have the tournament, we could do something like that and record some of the games.
I'm always too busy losing to even take decent photos.
I forget to take photos. I'm like, I'll take all these photos, and then
Yeah.
So we might need a videographer or something.
We might. So Peter says, are the engineers worth it now they're fewer? So we talked a little bit about them earlier.
Yeah, I think they're just more elite. I guess it depends on what you want them to do. If you think they're going to be able to use cover and get in and maybe not take so many casualties, and you want that when you do get in combat, I mean, what you're paying for is you're kind of already getting the free upgrade for the. No, it's not free, but it's incorporated upgrade for the Panzerfaust. So. Yeah, it's just a different style. I guess it's more elite, so it's like it's giving you more choices. It's like how when previously you're playing Germans and they're always expensive. The infantry is always expensive, where it's kind of, and then as you go further in the war, they actually get cheaper because they're getting worse. And it's the kind of opposite for the Soviets. It's like, well, they're cheap, and not so great, and now by the end of the war, they're really good, but they're expensive. So it's just giving you more options, I think.
Yeah. So, the Berlin Soviet release is really if you want to do elite forces, because otherwise, if you just want to run motor rifle infantry, then, Bagration will do you fine.
And once, as we said before, we didn't get the command cards.
So there might be fun in that.
There could be some fun stuff in that, but unfortunately, I don't know. Sorry.
So Peter's saying, sorry, I'll have to rewatch the video. So we talked a little bit about the engineers. I think I also talked about them on the Modeling for Advantage live stream I did a couple of weeks ago. He said, shamelessly plugging that for the Restless Kaiser. Johnny B really wanted the 203 mil.
He was
guns
so
on
stoked
tracks.
with those guns.
It's like, I'll just have all of. How many of them can I take? It's like, okay.
4.
Yep, you can take 4. And you wouldn't have points for much else, I seem to remember.
No, where were they?
They weren't horrible.
So,
they were like 16 points each or something.
So, no, the Red Banner 203 Storm Gun Platoon, which you can only have 2 of them, is 10 points, so 5 points each.
Oh, 5 points each, okay.
But there's another one, which is in the support unit. Scroll.
Yep.
Which is the 230mm artillery battery.
Yeah.
And they're 4 for 14 points, which is not too bad, really.
That's pretty good.
Do they still have the direct fire line?
Yep. So direct fire 1, rate of fire 1, 16-inch, AT-13 auto. So once you hit it, they're dead.
Just make the building go away.
Yep. So make whatever you hit goes away, pretty much.
Yep.
And for the artillery bombardment, it's 88 inches, small artillery bombardment, and AT4, which is pretty good for version 4. Firepower 2+.
Hey.
So
Spamerai is late. Mate, we talked about M4A2s. There were sprue shots. You missed them.
Yep. Too bad for you. You obviously didn't love Shermans enough.
No, I didn't love Shermans enough to get here on time. Hey, man, it's time zones. I think I got up an hour early to go to the Modeling for Advantage thing because they're not on British Daylight Saving Time at the moment.
How dare they?
Forgot. So I'm wandering around at 4 o'clock in the morning going, why aren't they here? Because I'm an idiot. Anyway, guys, we really must go. But thank you. It is always a pleasure. And thank you to Ben, our special guest, for coming
Thanks
and
for having me, guys. It's been a
sharing
blast.
your East Germans with
Oh,
us.
no worries, mate. Our pleasure.
We must
No, I
do
want to meet you guys in
another.
person. It'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to
soon.
meet them in person too. It'd be great.
Oh, great.
I mean, how far away are you from us, Adam?
1,600 k's.
Yeah,
And
1,600
we're
k's.
still in the same state.
Actually, I think I'm still further away because I'm like 300
Yeah, you're
k's
more.
south of
I'm
Perth.
600. How many k's south of Perth?
300. So
about
1,900
2,000
k's, nearly 2,000
Yeah,
k's away.
Yeah.
Don't you love the internet? Isn't this stuff great?
Mhm.
But yeah, Ben, thank you. I must give you an opportunity to kick my ass again.
Yeah,
Really
no,
looking
yeah,
forward to that. And if you come to the Flames of War mid-war thing, yeah, we'll get a chance to maybe I can kick your ass at Flames of War.
Yeah, no, I'll put
Yeah.
something together.
Now the shoe is
good,
on the other
good.
sock. Mhm.
I'll go away and try and understand what that meant now.
Yeah.
All right. So anybody else got
office-
any last comments before we go?
No,
Mm,
you've summed it all up, mate.
That sounds
No.
like a no. All right, guys.
yeah.
If you were interested in Berlin Soviet, I hope What You Want comes out fairly soon. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks to everybody for being part of this. And we really appreciate it. And we'll see you again next month.
See you guys.
See ya.
See you guys.